Hello, today we're going to talk about samples and getting materials to the lab and doing some lab tests. Just a basic overview. To begin with, we're going to start at the project level, and a lot of systems, you can go in and say, okay, I want to do a gradation, and so you have a big menu structure up here, and you go down and you find a gradation, and then you go from there. Again, we'll look for, a proctor or a gradation in our system. You're not going to find it because everything is organized within project templates, and things fall within a hierarchical structure where there should be. And if you think about it, you don't do lab tests until you get a sample to work on. And so that's where you're going to find them within the system. Our system, we have different project templates that we work with. Some are simple, some are more complicated. And here's a relatively simple little commercial project template. Down here we've got one for like a DOT highway freeway project, and down here you've got a lot more different project template or project tasks, and they're named in a way that this particular type of DOT wants them named. In a simple one, you also might have densities, material samples, and daily inspection reports. And you can, in this particular sample or template, we can go in and do a soil density and collect a sample without having them associated with a daily inspection report. In a DOT type project, you're always going to have a daily inspection before you get into density tests and material samples. Everything needs to be linked to a daily inspection report down in this particular project template, because that's what this particular jurisdiction requires. So it's just a way that we do different jurisdictional requirements within the system. So to get a sample going, we've got one started here. To get a new one started, we just go into assignments, and we can go pick a sample, or we can do density tests. And different sets of assignments are available at different levels within your hierarchy, depending on how the structure of this particular project template is designed to meet the requirements of a particular jurisdiction. In this case, it's pretty simple. We can do anything we want at the level that we need to. So first thing we're going to do is go in and do a sample. And so we're going to go into the sample, take a look at what the sample is like. Samples have a progress where they get started in the field. They get completed when they reach the receiving area of the lab. A couple other notable things about sample, which is filled out by the technician in the field as he's filling in his 5-gallon bucket or his bag of dirt to bring back into the lab. And a couple of things. We've got material sources that come from the resources, and they can bring in a bunch of information for free. If we don't if you don't have a resource predefined, we can type in the information that we need. Again, we're always trying to save keystrokes. Material acceptance is something that we can set up beforehand, and that's important to kind of understand where that comes from. Then we can have some randoms. We can set up some stationing and locations, some features. We can also go down and identify the tests that we need to get done here, just with, again, speed notes, click a button, just save some keystrokes. Do all the things that we need to be able to do. But one of the things that we have to do when we go in and select these is have them set up over in the resources. So we're going to go over to the resources, but we're just going to go over to this material acceptance criteria and talk a little bit about getting those set up, because the lab manager wants to get these set up just once for the system for the different jurisdictional requirements and the different places and types of clients that they work for. And here we're in just a little city organization. We might have things set up for a DOT. We've got a lot of things set up for UDOT DOT in here. But in this situation, we're just going to do some base course and a material. We're talking about soils and aggregates and things like that. We can put in information about the particular material or aggregate that we're working with. And of course, the the beginning is just information that we need to know about the a particular material. Then we have the different tests and upper lower limits and different things for a lot of different types of tests. And depending on the test that you might run for this jurisdiction, you can fill some of these in. Most of them are going to be blank, and it just depends on what you need. We have a lot of options here. And like I say, you fill this in once in the system, and it will last as long as the jurisdiction doesn't change the requirements. But also you've got sieve sizes and sieve stacks that you can set up here. So you can go in and select whatever sieve size you need. And generally you start at the bottom and work your way up, but each one of these is going to have the option for a minimum and maximum range. And this information all flows directly into the gradations and saves a lot of keystrokes. On larger projects, you might also have to do minimum sampling and testing. And we can set some of those up here too. Generally, that's going to be for larger DOT type projects where there's minimum sampling requirements that they're going to track. And these can actually save you a whole lot of time because we can set those up properly to begin with, and they can do a lot of work for you for free. So once we've got a material, the lab receiving folks are going to come in here. They're going to look and say, okay, we need a few different reports. They're going to go in, and all of the lab assignments are going to be subordinate to a sample. And so every time you need to create a report, you go to the upper left-hand corner and go to the parent to create a child. That's always the rule. And so we can go in here, and for this particular simple little template, we've got a set of tests to select from. And we've already got a couple in here, so we'll just go in and look at a couple that we've got. So we've got like a pit run gradation that is sitting here ready to go, and you'll notice that that we have our specs all brought in. These came in automatically from the criteria that we had set up. All of our sieve sizes are all set up for us, and we're ready to just start putting in information. And we're set up so you can do cumulative or individual, and the system will calculate what you need, what it needs to calculate based on which columns get filled in. But anyway, that's just kind of how the lab work goes. And then of course we'd go back up and pick the proctor and plastic limit Adbergs, whatever other tests that we need to do. And then of course, once we get those tests done, they're going to go into the lab dashboard and show up on the test to be completed. And then once they're completed, they'll move on to the lab test to be approved. And that workflow is all going to happen exactly the way you'd like it to be able to happen. Anyway, we've taken quite a bit of time here. Thanks for your interest in Vahalo, and we'll see you again next time.